Peter King joins us now from the MMQB. How you been, Peter?
I've been great, Rich. And, Rich, you've had many bold takes in your life, and that is not one of them.
That is not one of them. That's not a hot take?
No, not at all.
Well, I mean, man.
Would you go to Vegas right now and bet on any other team? Right? If I asked you,
yes,
go to Vegas right now, no matter what the odds, forget anything and just say you pick one team to win the AFC West right now, who would it be?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it would be them, but you'd have to look at the Chiefs and say they've got 3 in a row at home in December in Arrowhead. I mean, that's a big wet kiss from the schedule makers, right?
I suppose so. How did they do at home against the Buffalo Bills and against the Pittsburgh Steelers?
So what is it? What is it? What is the sense of why this has happened to the Chiefs?
I think it's one of the really great and interesting stories in a long time in the NFL. This is more than just the decline of one aspect of this team. Kareem Hunt has gone from Gale Sayers to Don Nottingham. What in the world happened to Kareem Hunt? And I'm sure that I echo 9 million fantasy football owners of Kareem Hunt in the United States of America right now. But I think it's not just the fact that they're not an explosive offense anymore. It's that their running game is not good enough. But I will make this point, and I think Travis Kelce said it well at the Meadowlands 9 days ago when he was asked, "What the heck is wrong with your team?" And I hate to go all Andy Benoit, Greg Cosell on you, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that teams have understood that they're not going to be afraid to throw the ball deep. So they're playing a lot of very conservative cover two, and they're saying, listen, you're not going to throw the ball over our head, and you're not going to beat us with Tyreek Hill, on 50-yard go routes down the field. I think the lazy way of looking at this is to say, Alex Smith, every November and December, he just, comes down to earth and he can't play when the weather's bad and blah, blah, blah. It isn't that. It's that I think teams basically are saying to them, you're not going to beat us deep anymore. You're not going to send people up the seam over our heads. You want to beat us in front of us, that's fine, but you're not beating us with big plays anymore.
Peter King of the MMQB joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So which team do you think comes out of the NFC now that we've got 5 games to go? Is it as simple as the Eagles?
I think the NFC is so fun.
It is.
And I think, Rich, here's the thing about the Eagles. Right now, if I am Doug Peterson, I absolutely, totally love this schedule, okay? Because here we are, we're 10-1. But even Doug Peterson, when he has his staff meetings with Frank Reich and Jim Schwartz, if they're being honest, they're saying, hey, you know what? Do we have a signature win? Is it the 5-point Thursday night win at Carolina that, could almost was a coin flip game? We could have lost that game. The other 9 wins all are against teams that have losing records right now. So we need a challenge. We need to see how good we are, because the one thing you don't want to have happen, especially after a bye week, you don't want to get to football on January 13th or 14th and say, we really have no idea how good we are, because everybody we play is the Chicago Bears who don't get a first down for 31 minutes. And I'm exaggerating.
No, I know.
But the point I guess I would make about this team is they're going to Seattle, and regardless of how everybody now views Seattle, wounded animal, not good enough, all that other stuff, since they lost Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor, in those 2 games, they've allowed 280 and 279 yards on defense. And I'm not saying they're the same defense. All I'm saying is that they have played very well on defense without 2 essential players. So that's going to be a challenge to win in the Pacific Northwest Sunday night, 110 decibel level for 3 hours. So That's a challenge. And then the following week, you got a tougher game. You stay on the West Coast. You practice in Anaheim at the field of your most famous season ticket holder, Mike Trout, which is, by the way, what they're going to do. They're practicing in the stadium in Anaheim all next week. And I just gave Rich Eisen and his producer a great idea. Hey, we're going to go on location. We're going to go do the show from Anaheim, and we're going to get 15 Eagles on. Isn't that exciting?
And the Rich Eisen show is on KLAA, home of your Los Angeles Angels.
Hey, now.
Well, hey, there's a lot of little backs to be scratched right there. But
light bulb moment, Peter.
Then you've got the Rams, and to me, that's a very possible preview of the NFC Championship game. And I would only just say this about that game, which might be a lot more interesting than people think, because as we sit here right now, Rams 8-3 and Philadelphia 10-1. Now, is it impossible to think that the Eagles could go to Seattle and lose? No. And so just imagine if Philadelphia at the Rams, everybody's talking about, you heard what Mike Tomlin said to Tony Dungy the other day, that this isn't just about, this game against the Patriots is not just about a great game. It might be for home field throughout the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what he strongly implied in that interview with Dungy. Well, I mean, don't look now, but there could be, at the very least, a first-round bye hanging on that Rams-Eagles game because, hey, we don't want to forget Minnesota. And, you know, Minnesota's sitting there at 9-2, so and they could and all these teams in the South, they could have something to say about it too. But I think that Rams-Eagles game, as much as everybody's talking about the Steelers and the Patriots now, and I love that game too, that Rams-Eagles game is potentially just a mega game.
Yeah, it is. And as you point out, interestingly enough, the last Los Angeles Rams home before their current one was in that stadium. You know, that's been reconfigured as a beautiful ballpark down there for Mike Trout. It's interesting storylines for that. The couple minutes I have left with you, Peter King, let's some quick hitters. Aaron Rodgers coming back this year, yes or no? What do you think?
I think he's going to come back in Week 15, and he'll have 3 games to try to pull a rabbit out of his hat and to get the Packers to have a prayer to be the second wild card team.
Okay, Dallas Cowboys, they go 0 for Zeke. Is Jason Garrett's job on the line, you think?
Only I think you have to see how the last 5 weeks goes. Nobody can say. If they're embarrassing 5 weeks in a row, just as a gut feeling, have no earthly idea whether it has a prayer. But I think if John Gruden really wants to go back and the Cowboys absolutely are terrible down the stretch and lose their last 6 or 7, whatever it is, Jerry Jones could look at John Gruden. But again, no inside information, absolute guess.
So who else? What are the names you hearing as being surprise coaching hires, or in the case of Gruden, reappearances with 5 weeks to go?
I'm not sure. It's going to be a very weird year. I don't think David Shaw goes to the NFL yet. I think maybe 2 or 3 years from now he may. I think you're going to round up a lot of the usual suspects. There isn't a real hot name in college football, say like David Shaw or a Chris Peterson. I think Chris Peterson probably, if he went to the NFL, would really want to stay west. And I think it's probably Josh McDaniels, Matt Patricia, and Jim Schwartz, and round up the usual suspects.
Interesting. And then, you know, I'm sure you heard Chuck Pagano's press conference yesterday that we're going to play later on in this edition of this show, where, you know, he recreated the Sonny and Cher song moment, waking up, the I Got You Babe moment from Groundhog Day. It sure sounds like he's a guy that knows his fate is going to hit him. Who else do you think knows their fate's going to hit him that we're sitting here, Peter?
I mean, look, I think if I'm Jimmy Haslam, as much as people in Cleveland will feign at this, I think it's important that he keeps Hugh Jackson. He still has the respect of that locker room, and nobody's winning with that team right now. I don't think there's going to be as many changes as you think. I want to hear from Bruce Arians about whether he wants to continue. I think he does. So whether they would make a decision on Arians, I doubt it. I think he comes back. And I think there will be some questions to be asked in Tampa Bay. I don't think Tampa Bay wants to start to be known as this franchise. Schiano lasted 2 years. Lovie Smith lasted 2 years. They don't want to be in this revolving door thing. I think unless they play horrible down the stretch, that Dirk Cutter stays. And I think the other big question is going to be the Giants. Ben McAdoo, does he stay or does he go? My gut feeling is that he'll go, but only John Mara knows that right now.
You think your Sox get Giancarlo Stanton? What do you think?
No. I think it'd be a dumb idea.
Why?
Well,
him in that stadium. I mean, you better watch out behind a monster, Peter.
But here's the point, Rich. Right now they have pillaged the farm system, and you tell me how close they are right now. I don't think they're that close. I think that one of the reasons they're a good team right now, but not a great team, is that they've held on to a lot of these young guys.
Right.
Where would they be without Mookie Betts? They might trade Jackie Bradley, but where would they be without Mookie Betts? Xander Bogaerts is a staple. I'm not a big fan of just using your farm system to go get $80 million guys or whatever Stanton. How much does he make? 30? I don't know what. But we got too many of those guys. Let's have a few more guys who are 21 years old and who are promising.
All right, Peter, you got it. Let's chat soon. Always love our conversations. Thanks
a million, Rich.
You got it. That's Peter King.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.